everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new reading, Sienna here by the way, with a viewer request that I am very, very happy to have received. Actually, a few people asked about this. What is a spiritual perspective on fear? Because that is a huge part of the human experience. Fear, anxiety, uncertainty, especially a fear of the unknown. But they just want to know what Spirit has to say regarding this. And so I have 3 questions on this topic that I thought I would ask. The first is, why do we have fear? And other than just for, our survival instinct, because that's an important reason why we experience fear. Sometimes, sometimes it's like, oh, you're a little bit close to the edge of that cliff. I think you should take a step back. Like, that's useful. Fear can be useful. But what about just other reasons why we have it? Second thing I want to ask is, what can we learn from fear, from the experience of anxiety? And the third thing is, how can we overcome it? So, let's shuffle and let's think about, why do we have fear? Why are some of us, or all of us, afraid and anxious from time to time? Interesting. All right, and I was saying a second ago, we have that built-in human survival instinct. Sometimes people are afraid of the unknown. Let's get the camera to focus here on this card. Oh, come on. Anyways, this is the King of Pentacles, and one spiritual perspective, one reason why some people are afraid is because we're afraid of, maybe some are afraid of success, or afraid of having all your needs met. And that sounds weird, but it's in the same territory as a fear of the unknown. If a person, for example, maybe grew up in poverty, or just grew up poor, or just uncertain about money, or they grew up in an area where nobody had money and everybody struggled, they may have fears regarding financial success or long-term wealth, because this is just simply something they're not used to. Some people are afraid of success. The World card is all about the successful completion of a cycle or a project or a chapter in one's life. Some people are afraid of success because maybe, like I was saying with that last one, they're just not used to it. They're not used to things going their way so often, and they're used to preparing for the worst, and they're used to preparing themselves for loss. Sometimes we're afraid to be hurt or insulted or invalidated or betrayed. I wish the camera would focus, but that's okay. You guys know this is the 5 of Swords. On the bottom of the deck, I have the Magician. Some people are afraid of their own potential. They're afraid of, and it sounds really weird and maybe cliche because we hear about it before, some people are afraid of their own success. A lot of this has to do with being outside of the comfort zone. That survival instinct may not be 100% aware of the outer circumstances. It just knows, oh, you're feeling this way. Okay, well, you know what? This is because you're in an unusual situation, or, you have something that you're just not used to here, and I'm going to do my best to protect you. So what can we learn from fear? What are some valuable things we can learn from the experience of fear and anxiety? Here, there's one thing. What's another thing? Interesting. Okay. So that last question mostly just talked about the emotion of fear. Not so much anxiety, which is like usually a more chronic version of fear. Valuable lessons we can learn from fear and anxiety. Okay, so right away, I picked up from having here this 7 of Pentacles and 8 of Swords. Here we go. That fear breeds fear, anxiety breeds anxiety, and these things keep you stuck in life. They can keep you from moving forward because some people are too afraid to reach out and ask for what they need or want, or they're too afraid to reach out and try something new, or to start working towards their goals, their dreams. When we sow seeds of fear and doubt, that's usually what we end up, the fruit that we get is limitation. Something that I've picked up. What else can we learn from the experience of anxiety and fear? With the Emperor, there is a sense of control. Sometimes the ego self wants to be in control of everything going on in life because it wants to be in the know. It wants to have a say in every single thing that happens with us, even though that's not usually how it goes. Sometimes anxiety and fear just show where you feel like you have a lack of control in a certain area of life or a certain situation. Wheel of Fortune talks about things that are fated and things that are meant to happen and things that are put on our path. For some people, the struggle with anxiety and fear is part of their path because it can help them to realize that maybe there are unhealed traumas, often from the current lifetime, just an earlier part of the current lifetime, but sometimes from previous incarnations. That does happen. So that some healing can take place. Maybe we get this anxiety or fear to show us, hey, something inside of us is out of balance. Something inside of us is not quite right. Something else that I pick up here with this Emperor card is that we actually have more control over our fear than our fear has over us. And that's sometimes it's hard to remember when you're in that kind of situation, and sometimes it's hard to embody that concept. But the more that we heal from past hurts, any current pains, any, emotional, spiritual, mental, whatever, anything in the current time that is bothering us, as we heal and release things, it does become easier to get a semblance of control over our emotions, our moods, our anxieties, whatever. How can we overcome fear? What does Spirit say regarding that? How do we overcome the presence of fear? What can we do? Interesting. Okay, all right. I like that there's already Strength card on the bottom of the deck. This is encouraging. First of all, with Page of Wands, I'm actually getting write things down. Write down what your fears are and where you think they may have come from. For example, it could be something like a fear of being alone because of X, Y, and Z experience you had in your past. Or it could be afraid of moths or something like that because of whatever reason. Write it down. Write down reasons why you think that this fear is present. And sometimes it does help to write down like things that you might be able to do about it. Sometimes we're not always aware of things we can do about the way we feel. but sometimes we are. I also have here with Knight of Swords, don't push yourself too hard. If you're not ready to expose yourself to whatever it is that is causing you this fear, you don't have to jump into it all at once. Some situations maybe you will, but for the most part, you don't really have to jump into it all at once. Like, I'm just going to use fear of moths for an example. If you're, trying to get yourself not afraid of them anymore, sure, maybe a bit of exposure therapy could be helpful, but it doesn't mean that on day one you go to like an insect museum or lock yourself in like a box or a case with all of these butterflies and moths flying around. Like, it doesn't mean you go right in on day one of trying to get over this fear, trying to overcome it. You don't have to force yourself to confront everything 100% all at once. However, Tower card is saying that at some point you probably will have to face the thing or the situation that you're afraid of and take a different course of action than you would have normally done. Sometimes we have like a fear of success, for example, or a fear of maybe a fear of rejection. And so, for example, at a job, maybe there's the chance for a promotion, and somebody really, really wants this promotion, but they might be a little bit too scared of, oh, I might have all these new responsibilities, or what if I apply for this promotion and I don't get it? What if they're not good enough? Whatever. At some point, you are gonna have to confront this, because your choice could be do it, get out of your comfort zone, experience that fear, or run away and lose out on a potentially good opportunity. So there's sometimes Spirit's saying that it depends on the individual and their situation. Sometimes we just gotta suck it up and deal with it. Sometimes we can be gentle and we don't have to rush ourselves into overcoming the fear. I think it just depends on maybe what it is. Okay, what else do we have here? I have remember some of the blessings that you have in your life. Also, remember times where you've been afraid, did something anyways, and it worked out well. Or you were anxious, but you decided, you know what, I'm just going to do this, and it turned out fine. Think about times where you did something anyways, even though you were afraid, and it worked out for you. There is an element of self-defense with this card, and this does mean that we need to try and protect ourselves. We need to try and look out for ourselves. One way that we can do this sometimes is by, now I'm just hearing the word like self-coaching or self-encouragement. Those are two things that are coming in, where you're in that situation, you're feeling kind of afraid, but you go, you know what, I can do it. I know I can. I'm capable. You stand up for yourself. I can do this. Of course I can do this. Just because I feel some fear right now doesn't mean I, have to submit to this fear. Or just because I feel inadequate doesn't mean I am inadequate. Or just because I have fears of rejection doesn't mean that I'm going to be rejected. Nine of Swords is saying that sometimes we just have to distract ourselves a little bit to keep us from consistently ruminating on our fears, on our anxieties. Sometimes that is easier said than done, but bottom of the deck, Spirit says we are all capable of overcoming the things that we fear. If you have a fear of rejection, you will overcome it. It might take a little bit of work. It might take having some acceptance that in life, people will turn you down or deny you or decline you. But it doesn't mean that your life is over. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means for whatever reason, that thing you wanted just wasn't for you. Or I'm going to go back to the fear of moths, and you're going to be wondering, okay, that's oddly specific, Sienna. Why are you using that as an example? And that is because I have a legit phobia. It's called matophobia. Scared of moths. Been like that all my life. Spirit's telling me that I can get over this. I have the inner capabilities and the strength to deal with this. And I just really strongly felt like Spirit wanted me to use my personal life as an example, because maybe that will help someone else be like, okay, well, you know, she deals with this thing that I deal with. May not be a moth phobia, it could be something else, but you know, she deals with this kind of thing that is really uncomfortable and is really a struggle, and it might help some people to realize they're not alone. And Spirit wanted me actually to remind myself that I can get through what I'm afraid of as well. The other card on the bottom of the deck, I have the Lovers. There's this remembering that you're not alone in this. You're not alone in your life. You have the help and support from people on earth who love you, professionals who maybe are trained to help you deal with what you're dealing with, and who genuinely care. And then you have all of the unlimited love from the spirit realm, from your guides, your angels. You have family and other loved ones that are there. You are not alone in this process. And I really liked that. Now, I understand that this was very, I want to say it was kind of bare bones, that this only revealed a few spiritual perspectives on fear. I'm sure that Spirit has a lot more to say on this, and I'm sure that there are many, many, many perspectives, but this is what I got for this reading. Thank you so much to the viewers who suggested this, and thank you to everybody for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to Sienna Rose Metaphysical, and you'll see me again in one of my next uploads or streams.